She
All right. Hello and welcome to the whole podcast, episode 1. And this is the Numbers in Motion series, probably my favorite part of the podcast, where we go into looking at numerology and life through the numbers in everyday life of everyday people. My first guest, I'm super excited to introduce to you. One of them has been a friend of mine for many years. I guess technically we could say we went to college together, even though we worked there afterwards, but we also both attended this school. So I'm super grateful to have her, both her and her fiance, on the program tonight because they have incredible charts and their story is amazing and her story is amazing. So we're going to be able to really take a look at how their story breaks down through the numbers. So without further ado, I'm very excited and proud to announce my first guest, Kay Fox and Jay Nixon. And pretty soon
Hey.
See, it's closer.
we're going to have sound effects soon enough, but welcome guys. Thank you
You
much again for joining me for this. I'm super excited to do this with you, and it's just giving everybody a great opportunity to see numbers in motion. So, as you know, that's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about is teaching people how the numbers work throughout life and how they impact us as individuals as well as society, certain things that happen on certain dates, and the numbers really tell us everything that we need to know within this simulation as they are the framework to that. So super excited to have you on, Kay Fox and Jonathan. First of all,
Yes.
congratulations. I know you guys recently got engaged.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, super exciting stuff and beautiful pictures, by the way, on online. And it was just, I think that she had told me previously, a lot of people thought they got married, and it was actually their engagement, but they were just such beautiful photos. So that makes sense. But so yeah, it's been so long since we have spoken, since we've seen each other. I've of course followed you online and seen so many of your accomplishments. First of all, girl, like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I think you have from our background, because we worked at, where we worked at, we've worked in the entertainment industry. We have, both of us have stellar resumes with legends and top names and all of that. So we've come from, a place where I've seen certain people go there and not really do much with it. And you're the antithesis of that. And in a lot of ways, and I know I've never really told you this or had an opportunity to tell you this, but like, in a lot of ways, you kind of took my little girl dream and like blew it up. So I kind of live like vicariously through you online just by like watching and like experiencing such joy for you and your accomplishments. So I'm proud of you. Congrats on that. Let's talk a little bit about, I mean, you're up in the Grammys. You've been doing music how long now?
Professionally 12-ish years, I guess, going on 13 now. But literally forever, like
Right,
forever.
right.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, was this always your dream? I mean, you've done Grammy stuff. You've been voting for the Music Academy for many years. You have Grammy considerations. You've been making albums over a decade now. So, and of course, you just recently, singing for Jolly Roll at his after party for the CME Awards. So, just amazing, huge stuff that you've been doing. So, tell us a little bit about catch me up from the last time when we were working together doing tours together at this entertainment media facility. Like,
Yes.
what's happened since then?
Well, when I started working there, I was finishing my first master's degree, and I did not know that institution existed. I discovered it at the end of my master's degree, and I realized that I couldn't like afford to go to school there. I also could. Well, it'll give too much away if I say that I couldn't work there. Well, I just said it. Anyway, I was gonna say I couldn't work while I went to school there. In any event, I got a job there instead. And that was my ticket back to New York because they developed a position that they needed a rep in New York. And I got wind of the position before anyone else. I put together a killer presentation to like sell myself, and I got the position. I got relocated to New York. And 7 months after they relocated me, they dissolved the position and my job, and it was it was the worst breakup of my life. I worked like 60 to 80 hours a week, but it was my ticket back to New York, and I vowed to myself that if I got back to New York, I would work on music. And at that point, I had 2 master's degrees by the time I moved back to New York, and I had too much education, not enough experience. So I took a leap of faith and dove into entertainment, into film, television, and from there networked my way into getting into music. Um, but yeah, so it's been a long journey. My first project that I fan funded, I was literally living in my car at that point. So it's been a
Wow.
journey.
Yeah, I've gone through a few of my things in the interim as well. We all have, things that we have to go through in life. And I think that one of the common elements in those epic stories, which I definitely would consider yours an epic story, it has the ups and downs, right?
Oh
You've
yeah.
got the super, super highs, but you had to come from very, very lows. And that's what makes it epic. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what makes it so much better and so much more memorable of an experience. And those are the sort of things and flavors, if you will, that I look for in life stories because I always know that there's extremely interesting numbers behind that to put those sort of factors into work. So, okay, cool. So, and then of course, I just started seeing, I feel like I've been seeing Jonathan for like years now, legit years. I'm not the best with keeping
We've been
when.
together almost 5 years, so that's valid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So let's talk about, I'm sure it had to do with music, obviously. So how did we meet? How did that go down? I'm sure that's a pretty interesting story.
Well, I was playing at a jam that I play every Monday night at Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar. And my friend that played with me, his wife was upstairs or whatever. And we were playing, we got done. And I went upstairs and I saw her while I was playing. And I seen her talking to his wife. And I was like, who is that? And then after that, she told me who she was. And I was like, oh man, oh man. And
But
then I
he
got
still didn't
scared.
talk to
Yeah.
me.
Then I got scared. And so didn't talk to her that time. And then they had a party, so I showed up and then we talked there.
Barely.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, bye, see you later. And then another time we were at Bourbon Street again, probably I think on a Monday night again.
Yeah.
And she was there and I was like, oh my gosh. And one of her friends were there from Florida.
Oh no, before that he walked me to my car and didn't ask me for my number.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm getting to.
Good job. Good job,
So I
Jake.
walked into a car. I had no game, so no game. Didn't ask her for a number or anything. Walked back. Was kind of regretting it. And so the next time we saw each other, her friend was sitting in the balcony with her, and I was playing or whatever, and I was making eyes with her, and I think I was anyway. Maybe sneaky eyes or something.
Hi guys.
But what I was told is that her friend said, "Girl, you need to go get his number," or something like that. I don't know if that was the exact words.
He said you need to go give him your number.
Yeah.
Give me. There were a lot of expletives used.
Yeah. And and so she gave me her number. And I called, and
ever since then we've been like this.
Yes.
Wait, where is it like that?
I think I've seen her every day since then.
He was like, I want to see you every day. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. I love this. I love it. I love it. And it's the perfect segue into your charts. And we'll go into those in full in a second. But trust me when I say that makes sense. That makes absolute sense to me. So congratulations on that. That's huge. And I think it's an example, it's a perfect example of like, doesn't matter what yeah, opportunities come along once in a lifetime, but then again, if you are meant to be, if things are meant to be, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? No matter if you get the digits the first night or not.
Yeah, I was, I was struggling.
Speaking of numbers,
Right, good one. For sure, for sure. Well, thank you for catching me up with all of that, Hawks. I just, like I said before, I'm super proud of you. Not only am I proud to call you my friend and see where you've come from and all that you've done to accomplish, but I love seeing that you're actually like fulfilling your dream. You're like living your dream, and that's such a challenge for so many in this. It's my personal belief that things are kind of set up to not allow us to enjoy those sort of things. So, so those who are fortunate enough to find what they are looking for and make their purposes happen, that's truly a major blessing. So, congrats on that, and I'm super proud of you. So yeah. And as far as with me, obviously, you see, I've been doing. And a little bit of the background on that, just to explain, because I wasn't reading numbers and channeling people when we were doing tours. You know what I mean? When we were
not publicly.
Exactly right. So essentially, what happened? I lived in Florida still, worked a couple other places. I left the entertainment industry in 2013. After many years of just kind of just going through some struggles myself, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go rescue dogs and cats. So I got a part-time job at a rescue facility, making $8.25 an hour. I left my $100,000 degree.
It was still more than we made where we worked.
It was about the same at the time. Yes. So yeah, and I felt like I wanted to find purpose with it. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of why I bucked a little bit. And I always still dabbled. Of course, we all have our resources and our projects that people call us to work on. I ended up doing a lot of my work in media and administrative, sort of stuff within entertainment and music and stuff. So with that, I was able to take that and move into the veterinary industry, learn some skills there, and then I worked my way up to running veterinary hospitals for the past decade. I moved out to Dallas. I'm originally from Texas, but I moved from Florida to Dallas in 2019, and I had been low-key kind of obsessed with numerology since 2011, pretty much. I'd come across it, learning things about my personal birthday and historical facts in the past. So I kind of did a head, nosedive head first into it, became obsessed with it, and just started reading friends and stuff like that, and was encouraged to start doing readings for people. Shortly thereafter, I kind of posted something on a Facebook group and said, hey, I'm going to do free readings for this many people. I just want to be able to post them on YouTube. And it was about the third reading that I did where I accidentally like channeled somebody's dead cousin, and I had drawn them on their charts and called them out by name and had no clue who they were. It was a complete stranger. So that was kind of the first moment that I realized for sure that I had different abilities. You know what I mean? And ever since then, of course, it's grown, and my awakening has been an explosion. But that's a little bit about how it started. So I think that when you go through a kind of a metamorphosis like that, it really does tend to make you believe that it's a part of your purpose. So hence why I'm here right now doing what I'm doing. So just a little bit of, I don't have any, I haven't been singing for these major people and going to the Grammys and all of that, but I love that you've been doing it because I'm, like I said, I live vicariously through your fun stuff that you're experiencing. All right, my friends. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing here, right? Most people don't have even a basic understanding of numerology or have even heard of it before. So just to kind of give you a quick background and structure to that, right? So just like everybody has their astrology charts, we all have our numerology charts as well, right? And numerology is what I call the framework to the simulation. If everything and everyone is energy, right? How do we quantify that? Through numbers, frequency, hertz, amps, volts, etc., right? Sine waves, as we both know about. Um, and so if everything is energy and we quantify that through numbers, that means that everything is numbers. And these specific numbers bring forth certain powers, abilities, intensities, energies, attributes, etc. about them, right? And what that does for us as individuals is just as our DNA is the blueprint to our physiological makeup, like how we're going to look, how tall we're going to be, our eye color, so on and so forth. Our numerology is the blueprint to our life's experiences, our purpose, our gifts, our talents, our challenges, a lot of the experiences we'll go through, and just our personality traits in general, right? Our tendencies, our weaknesses, our strengths, so on and so forth, right? Um, And so understanding this is a really great way to know yourself better and know how to deal with what you're going through in life, if that is choosing a partner, a business partnership, or even deciding what to do on a certain date. What are those energies of that day going to bring forward for you, right? What I'm really excited about, and I knew that this was going to be just because in reading numbers, so like I read life through numbers, and that's what the whole point of this. I want to try to help everybody understand how to see life through the numbers, right? And what this will do is really explain how, like I was talking about a couple minutes ago, where no matter if you miss the first opportunity to give your phone number, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right? And so these are the sort of things that can kind of be a piece of proof to that you can find, right? Does my camera keep going in and out?
Uh-uh.
Okay, good,
Does
good.
ours?
No,
We're trying to
mine
get our
is
dog to stop licking himself.
okay. No worries. But if for some reason the audio goes out, it's mine is just stopping every now and again. But if
Okay.
it's looking good to you, then that's good. Okay, so KF Hawks and J Nixon compatibility numerology. All right. So just a real quick background on how our charts are structured, right? We all have 5 different chart numbers. We have our life path number and our birthday number, and these are derived from the date of our birth. Then we have our expression, personality, and heart's desire, and these are all derived from the spelling of our full names. Now, with you, Hoxie, I have your charts and I have kind of like a little secondary chart because of the KFOX, right? I have to take those numbers into account because people aren't going around calling you Catherine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're not calling you your full name, even though that is you and those energies are very relevant to your life, of course. They're calling you KFOX. So that is actually an energy, once again, that we are putting out into the simulation and creating manifestation with that, right? So that is going to be very important to who you are and all of this together, right? With the both of you. All right. Okay. Now, out of all numbers in any chart, there will only be one of 12 numbers. You have the cardinals, 1 through 9. And then you have the masters, 11, 22, and 33. And that's it. They can't be any other numbers aside from those 12. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and start out with Miss K Fox. All right, Hoxie. So starting out with your life path. You are a life path 9. So let's talk about the life path and what that means. Our life path is the destination energy, right? So this is the ultimate energy. We may not always exhibit or fully exhibit the attributes or energies of our life path number until maybe the latter half of our life, right? A big example of this is like Kim Kardashian. She's a life path 4. That's the builder, and it's also justice. And we see as like she's been kind of like the brand builder of the sisters from the get-go pretty much. And she's continued that brand building, right? So she's always been that builder, but in her 40s she started getting into the justice energy of her life path with, you know, the prison reform, wanting to become a lawyer, so on and so forth, right? So that's a great life path example that I always kind of like to put as a visual there. So what is the 9? Okay. The 9 I call the healer, but the 9 is the closer as well. If 1 through 9 is the cardinals, that means that the 1 is the alpha and the 9 is the omega. Okay. It is the closer. It is one who is wanting to wrap up things, right? And make sure that they are complete. It is a number of completion. So this may manifest or look like in everyday life somebody who does not like things to remain unfinished, hanging above their heads. They want to wrap it up, get it done. There can be a little bit of impatience in that regard of like they just want to get it done. They don't like it hanging over their heads, right? It just bothers them. So that's the closer part of the 9, right? But the 9 is also the healer, right? And this is an extremely important part of when I talk about the 9 specifically. I always promised myself after a read I did several years ago that I would talk about this and highlight it for every 9. And also, let's just go ahead and say this now, Jonathan. You're also a life path 9, so I want you to take this with you as well. Okay, you wait until you see your charts. I'm telling you, you're like, I just got goosies. You're about to be blown away. That's why I knew that this was going to be an incredible thing to do with you too. All right. So the 9 is the healer, right? The 9 is the one that I also call it the shapeshifter. It's not a bad thing, like a demon. That's not what I mean. It is the 9 is comprised of every other number of the cardinals. Therefore, it's able to transmute its energy much more easily into other numbers and is far less judgmental than the rest of us judgmental a-holes in life. Okay. And that is because the 9 understands that hurt people. And the 9, being the closer and all encompassing, wants to save everyone. They want to save everyone. They want to include everyone. And so the 9s are like that ant that everybody wants to go to because they know that this ant is going to give them good advice, do well by them, and keep their secrets. They're not going to betray them. So the 9 is kind of like that safe place. You know what I mean? There's very much a level of loyalty with a 9. Okay. It's a safe place to go where you're not necessarily going to be snuggled in love. It's not like a love like that type of thing. It's a kind of a support and just somebody that you can vent to type of energy, right? They want to include everyone and they want to save everyone. The thing about 9s is they have to protect their energy, especially if they don't have protection numbers in their chart. You do, the both of you do, especially with Jonathan. But and this will carry relevance into the two of you later on. But this is it's super important because the 9s, because they're such a light like that and they are the healers, they need to learn how to clear their energy because if they don't, it can become toxic within them and manifest physically as illness. So I always tell 9s, learn how to put your oxygen mask on first and take care of yourself first, because if you don't, you're not going to be strong enough to help anybody else. Right? But keep being that 9 because 9s are what make the world go round. They're the healers. Okay? All right. Let's move on to your birthday numbers, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this all together. I should have changed the banners, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. We're gonna. Okay, so birthday number is if the life path was the destination number, the birthday number is the journey, right? So it's the parts of you that stay the same from birth until death. They don't change. And those energies go in to support and build that life path, ultimate destination number. Okay. So Hoxie, K Fox, I call her Hoxie. So is she's a number 2, right? And what is the 2? So the 2 is the loving, nurturing mother energy, right? This is the Venus. This is the Venus. And so the 2, shapes are they're going to tell you a lot about the attributes of the numbers. For instance, the 1 is like the male dominant. Look at the shape of it. It's very rigid, no curves, nothing. All of the leadership numbers, 1, 4, and 7, those numbers are the only ones that have no curves in them from 1 through 9. That's because these are the leadership numbers. And so they're going to be a little more rigid. They're going to be a little more intolerant. They're going to be a little more impatient because they are the ones that have to push society forward in some way, shape, or form, right? Okay. But look at the 2, right? We've got a curve to it, and then we've got kind of like a little springboard action going on, right? And that's because the 2 is a nurturer and a supporter. So if that 1 were to fall over on the 2, it's literally going to bounce it back up. That's the lover, supporter, nurturing energy. So 2s a lot of times like to cook, right? They like to.
I don't want to. Sorry, this is relevant. I promise.
Okay.
Which one is that?
My 2.
No, I love this. This is awesome.
Where is it?
I don't know what side it's on.
I can't find it.
It's the Texas one.
Oh, right there. Okay.
Okay, let's see. Bring it closer.
Closer.
Okay, a little bit. Go to the side. Other way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Okay.
So you see, that's from Texas.
Yeah. Naturally, the 2 calls to you, right?
Yeah, no, it has. And when my first time performing at South by Southwest, everything was 2s. Everything. In fact, I had planned on moving to Texas as a result of how many 2s showed up in my space. Wow. I was like, what the heck? So, and then it would be like 2:22 p.m. It was 222 emails, and I had 22 text messages, and like. Yeah. But then I started looking into 2s, and I was thinking more into like the soul purpose and life mission and why I was in Texas. I had actually performed on the anniversary of the death of one of my childhood friends. And it just felt like he was kind of speaking to me.
Yes.
So I got that tattoo during my first South by Southwest performance when I was in Texas. That's why it's surrounded by Texas in particular.
I love that. I love that. And that's a gorgeous example of how the numbers speak to you, how your numbers speak to you. When I started learning mine, I was like, that's why I see that number all the time. That's why I recognize it. Before I even knew my chart, those numbers were calling to me. And that's so important. And here's, you ready? You ready to go in? Are you ready to get blown? Let's go. Okay. Because, and I'm going to go over here. You ready? We're going to go boop, doop, doop. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Bam.
Yep.
Birthday 22. Birthday 22. So this is, and we'll talk about this towards the end of the chart as well, because these will be the numbers that you haven't seen, right? However, it's super relevant. You know what I mean? So this is the master builder. And this is, so if the 4 is the builder, like we talked about with Kim Kardashian, the 22 is the master builder. And the reason why is because even though we're not deducing it, it is a master at 22 itself. At the end of the day, 2 plus 2 still equals 4. So we're going to bring in some of that 4, and that 4 is that builder. So this is organization. This is structure. This is strategy. This is coordination, right? If you look at the shape of the 4, once again, right, it's like a stick or with a square on it, right? If it were to fall forward, what's it doing? It's like directing people in a certain direction. So the 4 is the leader of the people, right? And that 22 being the master builder, the 22 is literally the most powerful number in numerology. This is the hard hitter right here. And 33 is a mother too, but the 22 is the most powerful number in numerology, acknowledged by numerologists, since all of history. So 22s are extremely loving. What we're doing is we're amplifying that 2 energy. So I already know food is like a thing with you guys. Like food is love with you guys somehow. I don't know who cooks for who, but I don't know if we I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And he probably like cooks the best food ever. It's probably like the most delicious. And you're not going to use like crappy ingredients. You're going to use the best, the top of the line. You're going to make sure that it's like cost isn't really a consideration type of vibe to it, right? You want the best of the best. You really do put your love into that. And if it's even for a family, or if you're cooking for, if you're having a cookout with friends over, it's still, you want them to enjoy it. That is the way that you show your love in a major, major way, is through food. So food should literally be a love language. It's true. It really, really is. I guess it would be considered like actions, or something like that. But to me, food in and of itself should be considered a love language. So I mean, we have a 9 too, and then we have a 922, and we're just getting started. So let's talk about our expression numbers, because this is where things change a little bit. And we're going to go back up here to key box. All right. All right. So expression is how and why we do things, of course, based upon our numbers, but also based upon, environmental factors, experiences, influences, so on and so forth, right? And so our expression number is the number 8, and this is the Phoenix, okay? Now, this is where, if you've seen any of my videos, when I talk about the 8s, I take special attention, for this. Even though the 22 is the most powerful number in numerology, 8 would be a liken to that. It is a liken to a master, and it is the most powerful number of at least the cardinals, for sure. 8 is power, money, karma, influence. It is it's risk, it's ego, it's trauma, it is influence, alchemy, magic, and manifestation. And it's bold, it's beautiful, it's kind of in your face. And in this regard, in this particular regard, this is also true. This is where it starts to change to the key fox as well, Hoxie, for you. But your expression in both of these positions is the 8. And what this tells me about you is that there's always, like you said before, there's always been this this thing in you to where you want to perform and you want to have that manifestation and that influence, right? And even in changing that, it's not adjusted it in any sort of way. That's continued to be like that. Where it does change is our personality number. And our personality number is it goes from the 8 again as the influencer, right? But then it moves to the 4. Now here's what I want to talk about with this, okay? So the 8s, because they're so powerful, like I always talk about, when I personify a number, especially the 8, I'm talking about Kanye Omari West. He is an 8 amplified by a master 11. So that's why he's so bold and in your face, but he's also beautiful with it. Like, he's got his own thing. I'm not going to talk smack about anybody, but like, You can think what of him what you want, but he has got that resilience. That's the word I was looking for. And once again, look at the shape of the 8. The 8 is the most resilient. If you were to take it and literally drop it, it's going to bounce back quicker and higher than anybody else. And that's because it's the most resilient number. And the reason it's such a resilient number and built like it is because the 8 is made for trauma. You and me, Hoxie, we have the same personality number of 8. So I know all about it. And it's probably a big part of our soul connection. You and me have always been very, very soul connected, you know? So I know what that means, and personally, you know? But what changes with this is it goes to the 4 for your influencer. So what this tells me is that transition. And by the way, the 8s, the reason that we are purposed for trauma is because we are supposed to transmute those things in life. I did a video the other day, girl, and I was crying because it was after that I did, and I was like broken about it, right? But this is what I love about this, and I'm going to be the biggest crier on this. Wait and see. Like, I'm the biggest crier ever. I'm holding it back right now. But we are supposed to transmute it. And that's why we're so strong. It sucks. And I'm like, God, don't make me strong. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of going through it. Why? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a good person. Like, I love people. I do right. Why do I have to go through it? And in a lot of ways, it's kind of made me, I'm just speaking about me right now, my 8, like, it's made me super, like, the difference between me and you, Hawks, just to be super wrong and 1,000 with it, the difference between me and this is your 9 is that you want to save the world. Me is like, I don't have that 9. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that people have been through shit, even though I've been through it. Like, I need to learn how to have that compassion more. And I understand that. Whereas you have it naturally and you've always been graceful. Like, there's just a certain grace about you, and I've always like admired that about you because I know a lot of the things that you've gone through. Okay. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but that's why I do this. It helps to understand, you know what I mean? And it's all a part of the purpose. If we can learn to love the pain and choose the pain and work with it and know and learn our tools to work with it, we are fulfilling a part of our purpose and transmuting that energy in life for us and for others, right? It is not an easy path, trust me. It's not. But I believe that this was a part of our choosing before we got here.
Yeah.
We're brave souls to have chosen that. You know what I mean? So, okay. Here's where it gets amazing. Here's where it gets amazing, girl. So, going from that 8 to the 4, with that transition from our birth name, our government, to K Fox, right? The spelling of KF Fox, K Fox. That brought in that 4. That changed that changed that trauma into organization and planning.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how you transmuted it, was getting to work, putting it into work, right? Now, let's go to your heart's desire number, which is incredibly beautiful. Talk about full circle. So once again, we have a heart's desire of 9, You are living your life and everything that you want to be. And you're doing this, as we see again, it's transferring with that K Fox energy into the 4. So our personality numbers are how we're seen, right? So, and our heart's desire number is exactly what it sounds like. It's what we want out of life, right? So you want ultimately to be that healer. You want ultimately to build your brand, build you, right? To transmute those energies and those things from the past to build you to help save others through love. Yeah. It's beautiful. All right. Ready? Ready, Jay? 1, 2, 3.
Can you bring me some of this drink?
That's what I love about this, because it is this is not for entertainment. This is to help people understand how to get inside and to understand what's in there. I've just learned so much through doing this, and it's such a spiritual reward to be able to help people understand it more. So
Really awesome.
all right. Here's where it gets super, super cool. Like, as if we're not blown away already. Okay. So let's take a look at the overalls for Miss Hoxie. 92889, right? With the 844 difference, right? So 92889. Let's go ahead and, as we saw before, Jonathan, is a healer, life path 9. We saw the birth date of 22, the master builder. Now, let's go to our expression number, which is again how and why we do things, right? It's a familiar number we've seen before. So, what this says to me, and her being the life path, you being the life path, and the 22s and all of that, like, it's like when you guys met, it sounds cliche, but like when you guys met, it was like you always knew each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, we've been here before in a different lifetime, and you've always been here with me. Like, we just hadn't met yet physically, but in energy, it's always been you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was immediate.
Yeah. And the numbers speak to that. The way that you do things as your expression mind, that's who you are, of course, as your life path, your ultimate, who you are trying to be and everything, but it's also hers, right? And you both operate your everyday energies through love, right?
Right.
So let's go to I'm really excited about this, because this is where it's difficult to quote unquote impress people or whatever with numerology, and where they can understand that I'm for real about this. I'm not just making stuff up. When it's people that I know, I love going into it like psychics do. Like, don't tell me nothing. I want to, go into it blank, right? Obviously, with somebody that I know and have followed for many years, and my good friend, like, I'm going to know a lot about her. So this is a rare opportunity for me to kind of speak to things that there's no way that I could know, right? And this is where your chart comes in, all right? Because I don't know you, we literally met today. Like, I've seen you in pictures and a part of her life, for a while. And I know that you play bass. It's legit. That's it. And that you're engaged to her. That's it. And your name is Jonathan. Okay. So our personality numbers, once again, is how we're seen, right? And so we have for you the personality number of 7. I call this one the architect. The 7 is also what I like to call the executive producer. The 7 is the brains. The 7 is brilliance. The 7 is strategy. It's planning. It's you probably have post-its all over your desk and like itineraries, lists, schedules, that sort of a thing. You have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G because you know inadvertently there's going to be monkey wrenches that life always throws into the machine, and you want to be prepared for that ahead of time.
Yeah, I
And
should keep them in my head.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Mental post-its.
yeah. Like a photographic memory almost. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is also, 7 is also secrets, right? But it's protection. Look at the shape of the 7. It's like the most protective number. Anything under it is going to be protected.
Mm.
Now, what I see as far as the integration and looking at both of the charts, remember this went to her 4. It went from an 8 to a 4 with Oxy's personality. So that's that organization, right? 4s and 7s get along because they're both leaders. So what this tells me is there is some sort of like Hoxie was doing her thing. I know before she met you because I've been following her since before that, and you met her doing her thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But there is something significant about the strategy, the resources, and the protection of you becoming involved with her, both business wise and her career, as well as her, her partner.
Yeah.
This is a so what this would say, and I don't want it to sound a certain way or another. I'm just trying to speak in general terms and raw terms. So this would be like, you're a big part of helping her design her steps with this, and have been a big part of that.
Wow.
So,
I mean, as an artist, he's my MD. So he's hiring all the musicians. He's like locking in our set list, and like he's my logistics person.
yes,
Performance.
logistics is a big one. Yep, planning, that structure. That the 7s are so smart. It's brilliant. It like you can see not only like if you're literally like a circuit board in a computer, you can not only see the small details of the plan, you can see the big picture as well at the same time. And most of us can't do that. Most of us are either big picture people or we're detail orientated. You as a 7 can see both sides of it. And so you're very good at, not necessarily because the 7 is not one that's disseminating information. That's the 4. That's the leader of the people. The 7 is executive producing in the background, kind of behind the scenes, getting the specifics together. You know what I mean? Like the audio engineer putting the circuits, the chords in the right places, getting the Dixie chains and the MIDI all set up properly, and making sure the signal flow is right. Like you are, like you said, the logistics and the details of the strategy. And you're also protection over that, which is beautiful because as her husband in general, but like in general, like you're her protector. So it's a beautiful number to have for exactly, I mean, talk about fitting in perfectly to each other's lives. Like,
Wow.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
So, and I say this to make it full circle. And this is where it gets beautiful. Okay.
We'll get to it.
Oh,
We have a song that we created together called Full Circle.
really?
Yeah. And
That's
it's funny. I just came out of the studio right before we started this meeting. I'm producing a song for a client in Florida for a camera company. And so I was actually producing something right before we did this.
Wow.
Oh, we didn't tell you about the producer part, so.
Wow. Yeah, so and that's what I love, those sort of things, because it is so funny because full circle, literally the words for full circle were, I was meditating beforehand, of course, just to kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. And I was like, this is a really huge full circle moment for both me and Hoxie because we kind of watched each other in a way go through life, a lot of things in life. And she and I we connected immediately. I don't even remember the first time I met her. I just know that we were just always good. And good on a vibe that like you don't get with everybody. Hoxie is like pure grace. And she was just easy to like get along with. She was loved. Like we're doing a tour one time in a sound stage where we have to explain to people what's going on with the studio, and I'm just standing there, whatever, and we would have fun in between. And all of a sudden, I just feel like I'm doing the presentation, and I just feel her, and she just comes up and gives me a hug to the side while I'm presenting, and like just lays her head on my shoulder. That's a two. That's the two energy. Just love. You know what I mean? And I had no clue why. And I was so like, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I'm not the type of person that could do that with people. And I loved it because it just showed me, part of her heart and why she just has the loving vibe that she does. But I just always kind of remember that moment in the sound stage with her. And I think this was earlier on in our relationship and our friendship. So that's when I really started getting to know her. And she's just always been that loving vibe. So it's a beautiful thing. And I know that she deserves all the successes that she has accomplished and that are coming her way still, and she deserves you too, Jonathan. Let me just say that I know that you guys have gone through some stuff recently, and I know that I've had to go through stuff like that before in my past. And I remember when I learned about it, of course I felt for my sister, I felt for my girl, my heart broke for her, but I just remember feeling so grateful that she had you to like lean on and be there for her, because I've been there without anybody, and that sucks. So that's just know that like literally you guys like complete each other, right? It's a complete each other type thing that sounds like really cliche, but doggone it if this isn't the proof of that, you know
Wow.
So let's talk about the heart's desire, dear, because I said, oh, you're the strategy and all of this, and kind of like she really needed you, and that way she was doing her own thing, but not to the level that she is now. And that's been a big part of your strategy and your resources and your brilliance with that, right? And that would be like, oh well, that's kind of but when you go down to your heart's desire, we just go right back to what her every day. You literally, what you want is her.
Yeah.
What you want is to do this for her. Like you're literally created to do this, to help her. Like you guys, and she's created to be that muse for you.
This is true.
This is very true.
It's crazy. We just had this conversation yesterday.
Literally yesterday.
I was just telling her, there's a lot of things you do that I don't like and I can't stand them. I said, but I fell in love with your higher self, so that person's always there no matter what you do, basically.
Yeah. And there's something about this. It's like I said before, you met your person. This is like, if we are part of God, right? If we are all a part of God, that soul, our souls are part of that energy fabric in the sky, right? Source energy, right? It's like you two were like cut away from the same area of God's cloth, and you were put into two different bodies, like probably a twin flame type situation, if that's a real thing, which I don't even know if I believe in that. I know that I believe in soulmates, and this is definitely a major, major soul connection proven in this. You know what I mean? So I love it. I love it. And this is why I want to do these things, because it's just so telling, it's so beautiful. I've had to do one of my few compatibility readings that I did was a friend of mine and his girlfriend at the time, and they were completely opposite numbers. And I had to like very calmly tell them, yeah, you guys, these aren't numbers that normally do well together. It's actually the most volatile pairing you can have. And, they were together for a few more years, and doggone it if they didn't break up.
I mean, there's
Wow.
purpose in all of it,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
even the misalignment sometimes. So
Yes,
definitely been my
absolutely.
experience.
For sure. For sure. Facts. Complete facts. So yeah, so that's the charts, my friends. It to me, as somebody who understands the numbers intimately, it makes perfect sense. Which was like when I saw this, even before I knew your numbers, I was like, I gotta get these two on. Like this is ridiculous. And of course, with the whole Bunny XO thing, that was amazing. I did her chart, and she recently saw it. Thanks to a certain little angel friend of mine. And with that, I know you got to sing for him and everything. That was just the coolest thing. Like that's super awesome. So just how exciting. So
And
yeah, it all kind of came together.
I know that, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know that when you did their reading, you were like, I don't even know these people. I don't know. And I really can't speak to that because I don't know them personally either. But what I can say from just the short interactions is like how genuinely real they are. And like, I mean, that was a super pivotal night for him. He had literally just taken home Artist of the Year through the CMAs for country music
Wow.
and came to his own after party and was part of his own after party. Like there are people who do stuff like that and you won't see them the whole time because they either disappear or they go to somebody else's party and just have it as a celebration or whatever. But he was literally in the crowd with the people like all night. And I mean, there's a lot more of that in Nashville. I mean, I have the contrast of New York to see that, but it was really, for me as an artist, super refreshing to know that I don't have to change who I am.
Right.
No matter what level of success I reach, I can still be me. And that, I think, out of all the things that he's inspired and impressed upon me, has been one of the greatest things that I've gotten to experience from that. So
that's so awesome. I was even just saying to my friend too, I was like, you know what? Because I just recently came across them. Like I said, I'm not. I still haven't heard a song of his. I hate to say that. I need to. I'm sorry, Jelly Roll, but like it's just I saw Bunny first, and I saw them as a couple. I started seeing them on podcasts, and I'm like, this is interesting, and other things confirmed. And I was like, let me do these compatibility chart readings and then just put it out there and see what happens. And theirs was too interesting to not do. So I had to break that down. And that was just a huge confirmation to me to do it when she, was able to view that. And that was just a huge blessing. But they both just seem like that real type of persona. And that was a big part of like why I wanted to dig into it. Like this is really interesting, and I'm sure the numbers are going to reflect that. And sure as shit they did. You know what I mean? She's also birthday 22, just like you, and that 22, like I said in her chart, that's pure love. That's pure love. So
That's been my favorite number since I was a kid. I wore number 22 playing ball all the way through from childhood all the way through high school.
I'm gonna have to show this to one of my besties, Darrell.
And also,
the 22. Go ahead.
There's also significance to his birthday.
Oh yeah, my son, he passed away a few years ago, but he was born on my birthday. Yeah, he was born on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, 22 is a major one for you. And I can see it. It's.
And our anniversary is February 22nd.
Oh God. My friend that I just told you about, that's his birthday. That's literally his birthday. That's okay. We talked today, literally, and I sent him a text about it. I was like, remember, you're the master builder. Legit said that to him as that reminder. So, and he's a 222. That's crazy. Everything's in alignment. And this is what I love and why I'm so passionate about this, even though it seems like weird and some people don't get it. I don't care at this point. Like, there's people that do. And for those that I can be a blessing to and help to help them understand what this all means and how to apply it in their lives, it's a blessing. So I love it. Do you guys have any questions for me? Like, do you want me to clarify anything more with some of your numbers or certain dates or certain numbers you see all the time, anything like that, happy to go into it.
Honestly, you nailed everything right on the head for me. Like, because the twos, and it's fun. Also, the number 70 has been popping up in my space for the last couple of days. Otherwise, I had to get $70 worth of gas. Our tab was $70 last night. I went to pick up my other son from school yesterday, and the speed limit is 70. It's like just kept.
When is the speed limit 70? Except for Florida, that's the only time I've seen it 70.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't. So the 7 has been popping up a whole bunch.
So that sort of a thing, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a background with this, right? I don't know, Hawks, if you've seen any of the things that I posted, like when my dad passed and kind of like the whole mystery machine thing and all of that. So it's basically what happened, Jonathan. Me and my dad went to a Cowboys game. He's the biggest Cowboys fan ever, and he and I had never attended a game together here at the AT&T Stadium until 2019, and that was on November 10th of 2019. And it was a long story, but the party bus that we took there ended up being super slimy, and the stripper pole wasn't fully bolted to the bottom. Like, it was a hot mess, like noxious fumes. I was so upset, and my dad was like, Sarah, you don't understand. Like, these are the sort of things that happen in life that make for the most epic stories. Wait and see what happens, right? So then the next day we're making a video. My dad was the funniest guy on the planet. So we're cracking up. He's trying to say how the party bus was the mystery machine because you didn't know what was in it. It was like, and we're passing out laughing in this video with him trying to tell us that, right? I'm not going to say we smoked a couple of boobs beforehand, but we might have. And again, like, he was the funniest dude ever. So I'm wheezing, legit wheezing in the video as he's trying to tell us how this bus is the mystery machine. So I post this video, and I don't have a huge following anywhere, but all my friends and, my family, of course, they love this video because my dad was like that teddy bear that everybody loved. And so it became kind of like family viral, friend viral, whatever, and everybody remembered it. So boom, fast forward a few years, and my dad passes away in September of 2021, and October of 2021 was when he was buried, right? So at his funeral, and even years before, like, I would always tell him, Dad, I'm not going to be able to handle it when it's that time. I'm going to need you to send your girls some signs. Like, you already know, don't leave me here alone. Like, you're my big daddy. My dad was 6'9". Huge, big behemoth of a man. So you want to talk about my protector? He was my hero. I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof when I was with my dad. You couldn't say shit to me. You know what I mean? So, like, I was like, you need to make sure that you come back and show me signs. And I literally told him that. I spoke at his funeral on the 21st. And that was the last thing I said, like, you promised me you got to send me signs. Less than 24 hours later, I'm at my cousin's house, and I'm in her front yard around 11 a.m. And I just look down at my Facebook. I see a notification that says you have a memory with Michael Rothblatt, my dad. And as I'm looking at it, I see in my periphery a bus pulling up, and it's the mystery machine. It's a mobile wash, car wash, and it parks directly across the street from me.
Fantastic.
Stayed there the entire day. And like, I screamed for my cousin. I'm like, Kathy. And her and her husband come outside, and they're like, oh my God. Because everybody in my family knew what the mystery machine meant.
Yeah.
So that 111, that I see it several times a day, right? There's 1110, 1101, 1011, 1111, or 111, so on and so forth. And I'll see this time several times a day, and for a while I was like, what does that mean? And then I remembered the game that day, that epic story, was on November 10th, that 111. So every time I see the 111, it's my dad saying hello to me.
Like this is my whole phone though, because all I see are numbers. So I
Yeah.
like literally.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're all messages, you know, like they're all reminders from energy, from God, from source. And maybe, you know, with the 111 is my dad saying hi, you know. So when I see the 222s, I'm reminded of love. I'm reminded to be loving, be loving. And so that's a reminder that I always 1222 and 222. I'm always like, okay, I need to be loving.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing that 7, what I would say, long story short, Jonathan, on that whole big long story short, to tell you, when you're seeing your 7, that is just your reminder and confirmation from energy of being the architect. What are you doing in those moments where you're seeing that 7? Are you on the way to do this? Are you on the way to finalize a contract for this? Are you on the way to make money for this? Are you on the way to, you know what I mean? Like
Or
that's
what are you thinking about in that moment?
exactly.
Where's your attention in that moment?
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
It might be a reminder, it might be a confirmation that you're doing the right thing, and it might be a reminder to get on to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah. I believe in every aspect. We had just finished the show, so I just made some money. And then the other one with the gas, I was on my way to pick my son up from school down in Alabama. So, yeah.
That's
So,
what it means.
yeah, purpose. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm just so appreciative of you sharing your lives and your numbers with me and my audience. And I just wish you, of course, continued blessings and successes. I can't wait to keep sharing, because I can only imagine now that we're together as a team that your career is just going to continue to soar. So do it. Do the damn thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
You're
I'm
so
gonna. How do you listen to your music? What?
So my stuff is at Rothy Reads Numbers on TikTok and Instagram. What is yours? We need to talk about yours.
Oh, so I think I messaged you on Instagram. It's KFox. It's just at KFHOX. And
Okay.
then his Instagram is JNix Musics, all with X's. We've got a big X thing too. JNIXMUSIX. But I was going to ask you how you listen to music, because I was going to send you Full Circle for you to listen to.
Yes, I do. I have Apple iTunes.
Apple.
I have
Okay.
Apple
Apple.
everything.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's on Apple. It's on both.
It's
of
on
them.
everything. So yeah, but I'll send the link according to how you listen to it.
Yay! Awesome. Let me show you something really quickly too. So I'm not going to put the names right here, but let me see if I can. Basically, your middle names, your last names, you have five numbers, 5 letters, and you both have an X in the middle of your last names. And then we're going to do this. Let me see how I can do this. I don't want to put everybody's information out there. But okay, we see right here next to.
Oh, I think okay.
Okay.
It's going out because of your background, I think.
Okay. So basically, your middle name numbers are 636, the both of you.
Oh, wow.
It's literally the both of you. So, and these are the numbers that kind of build your total ultimate numbers for your chart, but I've never seen that before. Not only do you both have an X in the middle of your last name of 5 letters each, but there's also both your middle names are 636. I just thought that was super, super interesting. So just continued alignment and more proof of this amazing connection here. So once again, thank you so much, guys, for doing this for me. If you have any questions in the future, you know how to get a hold of me. And for everybody listening, thank you so much for watching this. You can check out KFox's music at KFHOX on all her social medias, and she said Jonathan's as well, which is J.
And also, our collaborative is called Source Sounds. That's our music that we put out together. It's called Source Sounds.
Source Sounds. So people can go to at Source Sounds.
Source Sound Nashville is Instagram, and on like any streaming platform, it's Source, like God, SOURCE Sounds.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'll get that on there. And Jay, like what you don't know is me and Hoxie talked about writing songs before. I'm a hell of a writer, so we may have to get some production in, brother.
Yeah, she's been sending me stuff like this is eons ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Super long ago.
That's easy.
Right.
All right. Love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. God bless. We will talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're a star.